Hey guys, welcome back to a layout update. So, I didn't really get around to doing one last month. I was trying to make these things a monthly thing, but unfortunately, over the last couple of months, I didn't really get around to doing much on the layout, so I didn't really see much of a point in doing a update in between the two. So, we're going to go ahead and do one now because I've got a few things done around the layout, a little more noteworthy than uh, making a singular video on last month and then just nothing else. So one thing I did get around to doing was putting static grass around the layout here. This is pretty much all finished up. I've just got to do a couple areas around some switches, as well as over here where you just see the mess of trees because it was all removed to make applying the static grass out there a little easier. As well as I did get some cork laid down and holes drilled to put in signals. There's this one here, and you probably saw that guy over there. Sorry. Um, Other than that, I did do a couple little things here and there throughout the layout. I did paint up this CN Maintenance Away truck. I'm still working on it. I've got to get the safety striping for it, as well as a couple other things. But overall, liking how that guy's coming along. A couple new acquisitions I did get from a train show recently. One of them was this Athearn Genesis Illinois Central / Canadian National repaint SD70. This guy does have Tsunami sound with the full light package. Well, as much of a light package as you can get from Athearn. This does not have the LED lights, so not too upset about that, but probably will get one in the near future when Athearn does another run. Excuse me, sorry. Another thing I did pick up at that show were these four Go Train Bombardier cars. These have been pretty rare to find, and if you do find any, they're really expensive. Somewhere upwards between $300 to $400. I got both this guy for $175 and the four of these cars for an additional $175. Apart from that, though, haven't done too much more on the layout. I've just got to put a couple things back together. I've been working on some projects a little bit, so we'll head on over there and just have a look. Alright, so a couple things I have done is mostly just small details. So one thing that I did end up adding was this broom that's on the side of the nose here. This is being modeled after Canadian National 4900 for those who are fairly new. This guy was a ex-Missouri Pacific and then extra and Trunk and Western before it got repainted into Canadian National colors. It still bears the GTW logo, stenciling underneath the cab. And I will try to find a way to replicate that in this guy here. Starting to get to the point where I can look into painting these. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with the anti-climber as well as the opening for the coupler box, because that's just not how these engines look. I've got the pockets, but for those of you who are aware, Athearn Blue Box units, or at least the early GP38s and GP40s, the coupler clips on from the top, so there's no real way to close that gap and secure the coupler pocket from the bottom. So that's going to be a fun challenge to work around, but once I get it all figured out, I'll be able to close that up and we'll be good to go. So right now the cab is not attached. I've still got to sort out a couple other details there. But like I said, I've just been focusing on little things here and there, trying to find the smaller parts. One of the parts I've been trying to source out was the air conditioner, and I finally got that sorted out. Originally, I was going to base this unit from the photos I could find of it in 2015 and in and around that date, but the air conditioner, and I know this is going to sound really dumb, the air conditioner would have cost me about $70 Canadian to have it shipped up here, and for the part it was like $9 for the part and then $40 shipping. So I did some more digging, and after about a couple hours of research I found out that the unit actually had an air conditioner replacement after 2018, where if you look at some photos online of this unit, initially it had a black air conditioner on the roof, but after 2018 it had a couple upgrades, and now the air conditioner is gray. And I found a couple good photos finally where the air conditioner is a little bit different. Point in context, the air conditioner for that would have been on the black unit, the fan was a little bit offset to the conductor side, and then in 2018 and after that, the center fan on the air conditioner was relocated to the middle. And I know it's a little confusing, but either way, I found another guy who makes the part that I need, and it's going to be a lot cheaper, so I'm going to go with that. Just got to make a couple more detail parts for the roof. Basically, there's a little antenna that comes off the number board here. Those are just above the number board there. Sorry for the shakiness of the camera. And overall, that'll look really nice when it's done. As I was able to get a hold of some of the Atlas glass light patches, more so for the back of the locomotive, where there is a couple glass lights that need to get looked after here, and then after that she'll be pretty much good to go. Other than that, I've also been working on the Point St. Charles caboose a little bit. So after doing a bit of research and planning and figuring some stuff out, these I've kind of realized they're more of a craftsman kit where you need to do the fit and finish yourself, and they're not perfect, and that's perfectly fine for me. I mean, these cabooses, I've mentioned many times in the past, are fairly difficult to find, and if you do find any, they're actually quite expensive, so I just said forget it, I'm going to do these myself anyway. So I'm just soldering on through it. These grab irons that are on the side, they're not quite glued in yet, so I've got to get the proper spacing there. Sorry for the hand. I've got to get the proper spacing, and then I'll be able to glue those in. It'll be the same deal on the other side. As you probably may or may not have noticed, there's actually a number 1 printed on the side of the just below the cupola there, and that corresponds with the number 1 on the underside here, because this will only fit in one way, where the fit and finish is actually quite nice. Now, there are some black marks on here, and that is more for me to figure out where I need to cut away and work on, because I want this fit and finish to actually be really nice. And speaking of fit and finish, one thing I've found with this roof piece is that with this section in the middle here, it's actually too wide by the time I got this all put together. So if I pull this guy right back, there's a considerable gap between the two panels there. You can sort of see it there. So what I'm going to end up doing is just cutting this middle piece out, and then I'll be able to basically stick it right together. And then the unfortunate part with this kit, I was hoping I would be able to paint some of these parts separately, and some of them I will be able to, but like for the frame underside, I will be able to just paint this black, and she'll be pretty much ready to go. I gotta do all the detailing on the underside, so that's still got a ways to go. But in general, this is one of the parts I'll be able to paint separately. But for the caboose and the cupola and the roof of this car, I have to put it all together and paint it up, because when I get this all put together and these all set like that, there are some panel gaps where, like if you notice right there, I want to be able to fill it in, file it. Same thing with on the roof. That I want to have it all finished up. There we go, got that on the right way. But yeah, there's quite a few gaps. I want to be able to fill those and make it look pretty, put in the time and effort to make this look like an actual good quality model, which is kind of what these Craftsman kits, if you put in the effort, can be. They can be very nice when they're done. So I don't think I'm going to go through the effort of drilling out the class lights on the top of these, much like the Trueline Trains models. I'm just going to use some jewels and drill it out. And sorry for the camera not focusing. It's quite difficult when you got a white background and a white object. But yeah, I'm not going to drill these class lights out. Well, I am going to drill them out to take the jewels, but apart from that, they're not going to be illuminated, nor will the ditch lights be, nor will the cab interior, because that's just not quite what I want to get out of this. Possibly in the future. I've still got 2 more to build, but I've got a number of the parts set aside here to use to make this kit, because it does come with some of the parts, but I find that if you want to get a properly accurate unit, you have to use some of these other aftermarket parts. And the reason I say that is because Sylvan does supply the chimney piece here. I haven't tidied it up because I'm not going to use it, but if you look at some parts of the caboose, that actually has a 3-legged brace around the roof. Now, in order for me to get that kind of detail out of it, I need to be able to hold a soldering iron close to this and not damage it. So that's why I have to go with these parts. That's why I'm going with these parts versus what came in the kit. There are some more parts I am going to use in the kit, like the seats that go on each end. These got to get tidied up here, as well as a few other parts like the brake wheel holds and all that. But all the grab irons are going to get used for the most part, and a couple other pieces. But all these like brake cylinders and triple valves and all that, I'm not going to use. I've got aftermarket parts I'm going to substitute. I've also got these Details West cushion coupler boxes, which were what were used on the Point St. Charles caboose, as well as the underbracing there. So I've got the coupler cut levers as well, but slowly plugging away at this guy. But other than that, haven't done too much else. Actually, one thing I did pick up at the train show, where I picked up the Go cars and the passenger cars, the Illinois Central, were some Bragdon Enterprises weathering powders. These guys here. And I got a really good deal on these. They go for I think they go for $7 something US. I'm not 100% sure. But I picked these, all 9 of these up for $12. And I'm trying to get more familiar into weathering. I did have, or I still do have, some of these Pan Pastel weathering powders. I've got 3 of these, but you can't do a whole lot of weathering with just 3 different powders. I mean, you can do some, but not a whole lot. So got 9 different colors here I can work with, as well as some other things to experiment with weathering. But overall, I'm actually quite happy with these. I've used them a couple times, so I've just got to get a better grasp on weathering. But that's a big learning curve that I'm slowly working away at. But hopefully in the near future I'll get better. But we'll see as time goes. One other thing I did want to show you guys is that I did manage to actually find and pick up a Athearn Genesis motor replacement. This is going to be used in my GP38. I've just got to get the screws to mount it in. A-Line kits make a universal drive conversion kit for these to be used on these kits. Sorry, on the older locomotives. Sorry for the blurriness of the camera there. But that's going to be a project for further down the road once I get this guy all painted up and pretty much ready to go. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more.